Plot A is a garage sale and what the title of the episode is based off of. Raven faces Victor to see who can sell the most things. This portion of the episode was okay. They kept buying things to get people to buy things. Raven even buys a tiger, and in the end, they end up with $0, and neither wins. All the stuff at the garage sale had to be put back into the closet. The tiger is still there and is guarding the kitchen now. Raven says that's his kitchen now. It's pretty obvious by the next episode the tiger won't be there and they won't explain how they got rid of it. Plot B is all about Booker and how he doesn't know what to pick as his major when he goes to college. Now Booker knows where he wants to go to college. He picks University of Berkeley. Neil doesn't mention where he wants to go, but he knows what he wants to do as his major. He picks sports science. Makes sense. Ivy knows where she wants to go, which is University of Southern California. Plus, she knows what her major is, and that is filming. Ivy is the one who's made Booker stressed out about all this, and I want to officially say I prefer Neil over Ivy. Before, I used to say Ivy and Neil mostly because I preferred Ivy over Neil, but now, it's going to be Neil and Ivy. Now, was it Ivy's attention to make Booker stressed out? No, but it still happened. At one point, Booker tries to force a vision to see what is he doing in the future as his major, but he ends up farting. First, this is a callback to the pilot when he tried to force a vision, but ended up farting. However, in this stage of the game, I see this as him trying to develop his power. When that doesn't work, Neil says, calm down and relax. It will come to you. And so Booker decides to go take a nap. When napping, he is dreaming in where 5 years from now, Neil is a football coach and Ivy is a movie director, or the movie director, and made 75 films at least in that current year of 2028. He screams in horror when he sees himself on the couch with gray hair, which wakes him up. Let's travel back to seasons 2 and 3. Remember in the Dr. Sleepmore episodes on how Raven didn't want Booker to live with him until he is 30? And in season 3 episode 4 where Nia says to Booker, you're going to be living with Raven and Chelsea forever. And Booker was like,
joke's on you. That sounds awesome.
In a way, we're finally coming full circle where he doesn't want that to happen. He wants to be out there on his own. Now, with me saying that I'm making a video on how the writers could develop Raven and Booker's vision power if season 7 happened, here's a little tease. I don't think Booker's dream was a dream. It actually happened. Now, let's leave it at that. In the kitchen, Booker tells Raven about not knowing what to do. Raven tells Booker he could pick undecided, but he has to pick a major before he graduates college. Booker says he has 4 years to figure it out. Raven was like, unless Devon is throwing in money for that extra year, you're only going for 3 years. I do kind of wish Nia was mentioned here. I do think Nia is going to major in becoming a neurologist and get that master's degree. And if season 7 happens, we would now know why we should be going to the same university as Booker, because that school will have the best opportunity to get that degree. Nia is all about protecting Gotham. I mean, the environment. Anyway, I did like this Booker portion of this episode. Plot C is all about Alice getting rid of Tasha, which was my, along with other people's predictions for season 6. At the garage sale, Alice sells Tasha for $10 to this girl named Anita. She grabs it, but Alice didn't want to hand her over. Anita had to then force it out of her hands. After that, Alice is happy because it was time, and so she goes into the kitchen to celebrate with a little bit of the bubbly. It's then Leela Heifmeister returns as human Tasha, but it wasn't actually human Tasha, as Alice was imagining her. This was all done to realize Alice thinks she is not ready to give her up, and so she is going to track her down. Tasha says it's going to be another Tasha and Alice adventure, but Alice corrects her and says Alice and Tasha, not Tasha and Alice, because it's her mind. When it comes to Alice and the other characters like Paige, Ernie, Dylan, Bree, and other characters, there's a reason I say Alice's name first, because she is the main character out of all of them. Y'all know how there is
Booker and the Bookettes.
And Raven and the
Ravenettes.
If I hear Alice say some variation of this, it's gonna be funny. Alice will be like to Paige, Alice and the Allisonettes. Paige be like, what? Alice says, I've been hanging around Booker too much, but I figured we should give ourselves a group name. This would be hysterical. Anyway, getting back on track, Alice comes to Raven to see did Anita put her address down, but Raven says no. Tasha comes up with the idea for Alice to use her Track My Tasha app that she created after losing her at the zoo once. Alice corrects her again and says, I didn't lose you, you were stolen by sloths. Alice tracks Anita down too.
the children.
When Alice sees Tasha in the book bag of Anita's, she is about to go up to Anita to ask for her back, but overhears all the amazing things Anita has planned with Tasha, and so she does things to secretly get her back. One of those things is grabbing Tasha with a crossbow toy gun, but then is pulled across the room when it gets stuck on an elderly's mobility scooter. For people who hasn't noticed this by now, but this is a recurring gag for Alice. She is either being blown back like season 5 episode 23 with the audio, or flown forward. Eventually, Alice does get Tasha as she tells Dave that Anita's birthday is today, and he uses that as a distraction to go grab her. When Alice gets her back, Imagination Tasha doesn't disappear as Alice secretly knows it's wrong. Alice struggles to figure out what to do. She feels bad for giving her away, and now she feels bad to getting her back. Alice knows she can't take her to high school, college, or the White House. Yes, Alice Baxter wants to become president. It's a possibility. Y'all know who I think the president is currently in the Disney sitcom universe? Sophie Martinez. Alice didn't want to just stick Tasha in a box up in the attic and be alone. That's why she wanted to give her away, because someone would need her. Tasha says, remember all the good times we had at the water park, being at a fashion show, and fought off that pack of wolves? And tells her maybe someone else should have her. Anita walks in and says to her mom, we have to find her. And so Alice hugs Tasha, and we get a compilation of Tasha's memories. Alice then gives Tasha to Anita, telling her to look after each other, which Anita says we will. And we get one last "what's that, Tasha?" and they leave with Alice saying she's gonna be just fine. Alice's story with Tasha was her Toy Story 3 moment, like how Andy had to give up a toy. Now, Alice's is nowhere as good as Andy's goodbye, but I still enjoyed it. Two more things. Let's not forget, Alice still has that Find My Tasha app. So, if she ever wants to see her again, she could just use the app to check up on Tasha and Anita. Or they could say Alice took the app down after giving her away. But who's to say that app wasn't only just for her, but other people who had owned Tasha dolls? And if that's the case, you would think the company who made the Tasha dolls will want a piece of that money, because Alice's former doll is part of their company. Regardless, you get my point. Second, I wish Alice had brought up Vivian's book when she's talking to Tasha saying, what should I do? Alice should have said, maybe I should turn human again. Tasha's like, are you sure that is a good idea? Because remember what happened last time. Plus, I'm still mad about Victor breaking my neck. And if he turn me human again, I'm gonna come after him. And you know what I'm gonna say to him?
Bitch, you broke my neck.
Alice and Tasha's conversation will finish like this.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm probably right, or I am right.
It sucks the human Tasha character didn't come back for this episode. But even with that, Michelle Hess and Leela still have good chemistry. On top of that, my Halloween pitch for her is not coming true. You know what also didn't come true? Showing or mentioning Victor getting healthy in this episode. With that, I give the episode a 7 out of 10. If the Raven and Victor portion was not here, I would have given it a 7.5 out of 10. Now let's move on to episode 17. Number 0, I called it. The tiger was no longer in the kitchen and not mentioned on how they got it out. Number 1, Mr. Reynolds. I like him. I wish he was the vice principal and had appeared throughout season 6. In the way he was interacting with Booker, they made it seem like they had history. So Booker parking in his parking space would make sense. Number 2, Laszlo, who hasn't appeared since episode 5, returns. He overhears Victor saying he's retiring, and he says he's been waiting 20 years to take over. But I'm like, didn't you take over when Victor left for the White House? Guess that didn't count. Also, not once this season did they show or mention Laszlo living in the Baxter residence. They forgot this plotline, just like how they forgot to mention or show Victor getting healthy. Number 3, Tanya Baxter. It's referenced. Victor is talking to her on the phone and says he is retiring and moving to London to be with her. Just like I said in my episode 3 review, wasn't that the whole point of the Tanya episode last year? Number 4, Alice asks Raven and Victor did they doubt Booker would graduate high school, and they basically said yes. In fact, everybody but Alice doubted it. Let's not forget Raven said it was unexpected he wasn't most inspirational in season 4.
Well, that's unexpected.
Number 5, Raven's plotline from last year sorta returns from season 5, episode 22, where the Raven dressed up as Mr. Giorgio. The sorta part comes from Donna Cabana. She should have been in this. She was saying she's gonna ruin her fashion career, but then nothing happens. Heck, Nikki was supposed to be involved in the storyline, but nope. I mean, I'm really happy about that part, But still, Raven goes to a building to deliver some packages because a lady is buying a lot of stuff of hers. Raven sneaks in as the lady didn't want her to come in. As Raven enters, she sees a bunch of photos and stuff about her, and she says,
Man, why do all of my fans have to be creepy weirdos?
It's then Mr. Giorgio appears. This guy is the one who found Donna Cabana to put her on the map. It makes me want to go back and watch That's So Raven and see if there's any unintentional connections to him. Mr. Giorgio talks to Raven as he sees Raven as the future of fashion. He wants her to move to Italy so they could be business partners. She has one day till 12 in the afternoon because that's when his plane flies back home. Once again, I wish this had build up. You would have saw that lady taking pictures of her in her group at the end of some episodes and you're like, who is that lady? Then just before his reveal, like episode 16 to be precise, we see the back of his hair but not his face. We see the lady talking to him. Then this episode happens and it plays out the same. He talks about how he had the lady follow her to understand her. Some of those photos he has of her don't make no sense, like the one he has with Raven, Mariana, and Len Chin. The others can make sense as he looked them up online. Alana Jones did very well in the role. Number 6. At graduation, Ivy didn't know Neil can do magic. And Neil says he doesn't. It just came to him and is making him rethink his career path. He's still going to do sports science, and no, I don't think he will do both. Now, as I said before, Tasha coming to life has had an impact on Neil, and with this, it continues to do so. Let's not forget him seeing Booker doing magic tricks in season 5, episode 7. Number 7. Congrats to Evelyn Darksoul for graduating. Your stepfather Dave would be happy. Same goes for Kuda. But what made no sense is why didn't they use Mr. Morgan? They just used that actor a few episodes ago. In terms of other students graduating, where was Andy, Liam, Avery, Ash, Big Larry, Zora, and Cammy Rivera at? When Booker, Neil, and Ivy were all talking, they could have had that lady on the podium saying their names off screen. It just makes me feel this wasn't a big importance, because imagine you saw all the school characters that appeared throughout season 5 and 6 being there. Sure, it would have been cameos, but it still would have worked. Which leads to number 8. Where was Alana, Neil's parents, Ivy's parents, Chelsea, Levi, Nia, Tess, and Booker's other family members at? Ivy's mom could make sense for not being there with the whole election thing, which we still don't know if she won or not. Tanya is in London, and for everyone else, I can't think of anything. My headcanon is that they were there, we just didn't see them. But I do want to say, congratulations, Nevia Baxter Carter, for graduating. You know what that means. You know what that means. About to throw down a bunch of names. Gunnar, Danny, Camille, Wally, Travis, Jared, Cosmo, Taylor, Sharon Decker, Delaney, Logan, William, Jordan, Vance, Layla, Mika, David, Angelica Marino, Wyatt, Olivia, Gerbert, Herbert, Lloyd, Curtis, Zenith, Sienna, Ramon, and Tess all graduated along with Nia. And I'm going with the hypothesis that most of the characters went to George Washington Carver High School along with Nia. Now, some of these characters didn't like Nia or whatever in the episodes they appeared in, but by high school graduation time, all that stopped. Mostly. Lloyd is dating Sienna and is very good friends with Ramon, as I pissed before about how he gave his blessings to him being Tess's new boyfriend. Xena is Nia's second female best friend, as they used to be enemies. I could keep going on and on with this fantasy booking, but I'll leave it at that. Number 9. They actually did my idea, and y'all like Giovanni. What do you mean? Well, go back to Do Not Make Season 4 the final season video. I said at 3:23 in text that they can make it a plot point or where one of the kids is on the edge of not passing. At the time, Nia and Tess were going to be there, and it was happening in season 7, not 6. But the fact that it's happening, you gotta give me my flowers. The video will be in the description box. Now, who is the kid on the edge of not passing? Well, that kid is Booker, and the reason for that is he failed to return a library book. He tries to trick Mr. Reynolds by getting another version, but that doesn't work, and so he tries to sneak into graduation, but realizes he shouldn't be doing this as they are becoming adults. Booker then gets a vision of him finding the actual book he owned, and 23 seconds later, he finds it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the quickest visit Booker has ever had in the series. The last quickest visit was from That's So Raven Season 3, Episode 13, Artbreaker, when Raven broke Chelsea's bird statue. Correct me if I'm wrong. After Booker graduates, he says to Raven he will still visit because of laundry. However, Raven decides to break the news as she is moving to Italy and the group is proud of her. Victor decides not to tell them he is retiring, which makes Laszlo sad, and Alice doesn't bring up going to London to be with let's get it right this time, Duchess Clementine. She wants to stay with her over the summer. The episode ends with Booker and Raven having a conversation about things never work out exactly how you thought they would, but you always end up in the right place. And then they hug. With that, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. It sucks that is my grade, as I wanted to give it a 7.5. But what brings it down is the spectacle of it all. All those characters should have appeared, like I said before. It would have made the episode more special. I will give it this though. It did the graduation right, unlike season 3, which failed to build up graduation or even show it. That's how that was a 6 and this had 0.5 points more. Now with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, your fingers up and say it with me. Congratulations, Raven, on getting a fashion promotion. Bars. Bye.